Welcome back to another episode of Train for Life Fitness Podcast.
It is great to be back.
I want to start today by describing something that I think is going to trigger a very specific memory for pretty much every single person listening.
Okay.
I'm looking at this visual from the material we're digging into, and honestly, it looks like a scene from my own life about 3 weeks ago.
I think I know the one you mean.
It's a woman. She's dressed for the office, collared shirt, professional vibe, and she is just physically leaning her forehead against a wall.
Just face planted.
Right into the drywall. And there's this little red anger symbol floating over her head.
It's such a visceral image. And it pairs really well with the other graphic from the guide, which is a cartoon brain literally holding up a sign that just says HELP.
Yes, it's that feeling of hitting the wall. Absolute cognitive overload. And the central tension we are unpacking in this deep dive is exactly that moment. It's the feeling that maintaining a fitness regimen or a diet or just a healthy lifestyle feels so impossible that you just freeze. You crash.
We call that the wall of burnout. And what's so fascinating here, and this is what Lët'z, the group behind this guide, points out, is how we interpret that crash.
Right. What we tell ourselves.
Exactly. Usually when we hit that wall, we blame our willpower. We think, oh, I wasn't disciplined enough, or I'm just lazy.
Yeah, totally.
But this guide argues the complete opposite. It suggests that the very thing people think they need, that flawless, intense, perfect routine, is actually the villain of the story.
See, that's a bold claim because we are conditioned, completely conditioned to think that perfect is the goal.
Of course.
If I'm not eating clean 100% of the time, or if I miss a gym session, I feel like I failed. But the title of today's deep dive is Consistency versus Perfection.
And the mission is to debunk that all or nothing mindset.
So we're really going to break that down.
Precisely. We're going to look at why showing up imperfectly is superior, and I mean mathematically and physiologically superior, to trying to execute some perfect plan that, eventually just breaks you.
I want to push back on this a little bit right out of the gate, just to play devil's advocate.
Go for it.
Isn't aiming for perfection a good thing? Shoot for the moon, land among the stars. If we aim for imperfect, aren't we just sort of settling for mediocrity?
That is the common trap. It's a great question. But let's look at what the guide calls the paralysis of perfection. It gives 3 specific reasons why this mindset just destroys progress.
Okay.
The first one is simple. It is completely unrealistic.
Unrealistic how?
While the guide explicitly mentions the twists and turns of life, work deadlines, family emergencies.
Or just waking up feeling like garbage.
Exactly. The perfectionist plan assumes a vacuum. It assumes every single day is this blank slate where you have 100% energy, 0 distractions, and, perfect weather.
Yeah, that's definitely not my life. My life is more like I plan a 6 a.m. workout, but my kid wakes up sick at 4 a.m. And boom, the perfect morning is gone.
Right. And in a perfectionist model, because that morning is ruined, the whole day is considered a loss.
A total write-off.
The guide argues that this mindset doesn't account for reality. It sets you up to fail because it just doesn't account for, a random Tuesday.
Just a normal messy Tuesday where everything goes wrong.
Right. And this leads directly to the second point. Perfection is paralyzing.
Okay.
And this really hits on the psychology of procrastination. We often think procrastination is about being lazy, but a lot of the psychology tells us it's actually about fear.
Fear of what? Fear of not doing it right.
Exactly. The guide talks about waiting for the perfect time. I'll start on Monday. I'll start when work calms down a bit.
Oh, man. I'll start when I get the new shoes.
We've all been there. You are so focused on optimizing the starting line that you never actually start the race.
I feel so called out right now. I have absolutely delayed starting a program because I didn't have the, quote, right groceries in the fridge yet.
Of course. You're waiting for green lights all the way to your destination before you even pull out of the driveway. It's just not going to happen. But the third point is the one that I think does the most. Physical damage. Perfection is exhausting.
You mean in terms of energy expenditure?
In terms of cognitive load. Remember that brain holding the HELP sign?
Yeah.
Think about the cognitive tax of perfectionism. Every time you stress about whether a meal was perfectly organic, or if your squat depth was, Olympic level.
Or if you should do cardio before or after weights.
All of that. You are burning glucose in the brain. You're tiring yourself out before you even lift a single weight.
It's an energy leak.
It is. The guide notes that the pressure acts like a heavyweight vest you're just wearing all day. So by the time you actually get to the workout, you're mentally gassed.
And so the synthesis here, the big takeaway, is that this whole mindset creates a binary state.
Exactly. Either I am perfect or I am nothing. And since humans can't be perfect.
The only option left is nothing.
Wow. And that's the trap.
So, if perfection is the poison, the guide says consistency is the antidote. But here's where I struggle, and I suspect a lot of listeners might too. Consistency sounds so boring.
It does. It's very unsexy.
It's not a 30-day shred. It's not transform your life in 2 weeks. It sounds like something my accountant would tell me to do. Just be consistent.
It is not flashy. But let's look at the math, because the guide provides a comparison that I think just destroys the argument for perfection.
Okay, let's get into the math of effort.
Oh.
Lay the numbers on us.
All right, consider scenario A. This is the perfectionist. They want the ideal workout. 90 minutes, full body, warm up, cool down, maybe a sauna. A real warrior session.
I know this person.
Right. But because life is busy and finding a spare 90 minutes is hard, they only manage to do this maybe once a week. Or, maybe 3 times a month if they're lucky.
That sounds about right. You wait for the weekend, you crush it, and then you're just too busy or too sore during the week.
Yeah, right. So in a month, maybe you've accumulated, 270 to 360 minutes of exercise? Now look at scenario B. The consistent imperfectionist.
Yeah.
They do a 20-minute workout. It's messy. Maybe it's in their living room in pajamas. Maybe the dog is licking their face while they do push-ups. You know the scene.
The good enough workout.
The good enough workout. But they do it 4 times a week. Every single week.
Okay, I'm following.
Mathematically, over a month, they're hitting 320 minutes minimum, usually more. So they're already ahead. But here's the physiological kicker. And this is what people miss.
Go on.
It is not just about the total minutes. It's about signaling.
What do you mean by signaling?
Well, when you work out once a week like a warrior, your body almost treats it like a trauma event. It recovers, and then nothing. For 6 days, you return to baseline.
Ah, I see.
But with scenario B, those short, frequent exposures, you are constantly signaling to your body, hey, we are active. We need to adapt. We need better circulation. We need more mitochondria. You keep that metabolic fire lit.
That is a great distinction. So the boring 20-minute workout is actually doing more of the heavy lifting biologically than the big hero workout.
Precisely. Progress comes from steady effort, not sporadic perfection. And this bridges perfectly into habit formation. The guide really emphasizes that fitness is a lifelong journey, not a sprint.
But let me ask you this about habits. When we say habit, sometimes that implies autopilot, like brushing your teeth. But working out is hard. It takes effort. Is the goal really to make it mindless?
That's a good question. The goal isn't to make it mindless. It's to remove the negotiation. That's the key difference.
Okay, explain that.
When you rely on motivation, which is what perfectionists do, you have to hype yourself up every single time. Okay, I need to do this perfect session. It takes so much mental energy.
Right.
A habit removes that negotiation. You just do it because it's Tuesday at 7 a.m. The decision is already made.
Perfection relies on motivation. Consistency relies on habit. I really like that. Motivation is so fickle, it leaves you the second you're tired or you're stressed.
It does. And this connects right to the idea of burnout versus balance. Extreme plans are just a huge withdrawal from your energy bank. If you're white-knuckling through a diet or a training camp, you're depleting your reserves.
Whereas consistency, because it's manageable, that 20 minutes we talked about, it's different.
It can actually be energy neutral or even energy positive. It keeps you feeling good instead of draining you.
There's another psychological layer here that the guide brings up. It's called resilience. And I really relate to the opposite of this. I call it the fragile glass syndrome.
Explain that.
Well, when I'm in perfection mode, my routine is like this beautiful glass vase. It's perfect. But if I drop it once, if I eat a piece on a Tuesday, it shatters. The whole thing is broken.
Yes.
And my thinking is, well, I ruined the diet. Might as well eat the whole fridge now.
That is the classic shame spiral. And the guide addresses this head on. It says, and I'm quoting here, missing one workout or indulging in your favorite meal shouldn't make you feel like a failure.
It shouldn't, but it does.
For the perfectionist, it does. If your goal is perfection, a slip-up is a tragedy. But if your goal is consistency, a slip-up is just data.
It's just a data point. That's a reframe.
Exactly. You ate a pizza. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You skipped a workout. Okay. The guide says it doesn't undo your progress. What matters is bouncing back.
So resilience is the ability to get back on track without all the drama.
It's realizing that one flat tire doesn't mean you get out and slash the other 3 tires.
Which is exactly what we do. Oh, I have a flat, let me just destroy the car. It makes no sense when you say it out loud, but we do it emotionally all the time.
To make this really concrete, the guide gives us a real-life lesson with 2 people, person A and person B. And I think we need to walk through this because person A is painfully familiar.
Person A is the new year, new me archetype for sure. So January 1st, they buy the new gear, they clear out their calendar, they throw out all the junk food.
All in.
They train incredibly hard for 3 weeks. They're absolutely crushing it. And they feel great initially, right? They're running on adrenaline and novelty.
But then life happens. A deadline at work, sick kid.
And because their standard is all or nothing, as soon as they miss one day, the whole house of cards just collapses. They stop completely.
And then we have person B, let's call them the boring winner.
The boring winner. I love that. I want to be the boring winner.
Don't we all? So person B works out maybe 3 to 4 times a week, nothing crazy. They eat balanced meals most of the time. But, and this is so key, they enjoy occasional treats.
They don't stress over a cookie.
They don't have a mental breakdown over a missed session. They just keep going.
And the verdict after a year.
After a year, person B has dramatically better results. And it's not because they were stronger or had better genetics or anything like that.
It's just because they didn't quit.
They just didn't quit. Success is the result of accumulation. It's the snowball rolling down the hill. Person A kept building a snowman and then kicking it over. Person B just let the snowball roll.
That brings us to the how. If I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, I'm sold. I want to be person B. I want to stop kicking over my snowman.
Yes.
How do we actually do that? The guide gives us some really tactical steps.
It does. And the first one is all about calibration. Step 1, set achievable goals.
Achievable. That feels like a code word for easy.
It's not easy, it's sustainable. The advice here is to lower the bar to ensure you can clear it. So instead of a massive life overhaul,
Right.
just aim for 3 workouts a week. The guide explicitly warns against trying to overhaul your life in one go.
It's about getting those little dopamine hits, right? The small wins.
Exactly. If you set a goal to work out 7 days a week and you only do 5, you feel like a failure. You get a cortisol spike, stress. But if you set a goal to work out 3 days a week and you do 5, you feel like a champion. You get a dopamine hit. You have to rig the game so that you can win.
Okay, so step 2 is routine integration. And there's a specific image in the source material here that I love.
I think I know which one.
It's a person sitting at a typical office desk computer, papers, and they're just doing a stretch. Hands behind the back, opening the chest, right there in the swivel chair.
It's a great visual because it shatters the idea that fitness requires a location change. You don't need to drive to the gym to do something good for your body.
Right.
The guide suggests finding time, even if it's just 15 minutes.
But playing devil's advocate again, can you really get fit in 15 minutes?
You can maintain the habit in 15 minutes. That's the point. And physically, 15 minutes of mobility or high-intensity interval training is infinitely better than 0.
Sure.
But the real value is psychological. It keeps the momentum alive. If you're waiting for an hour-long block to open up in your schedule, you might wait a month. Everybody has 15 minutes.
Step 3 is focus on improvement. This is about shifting the metric you're tracking.
Right. Stop looking at the scale every single morning. That is such a noisy metric.
So what should we track instead?
The guide suggests tracking performance. Are you lifting heavier? Are you running faster? Or even more simply, are you just feeling more energetic?
Feeling energetic is such an underrated metric. We ignore it because it's not a number, but it's literally the quality of your life.
It is the most important one. If you feel better, you'll keep doing it. And this feeds right into what the guide calls the snowball effect. Small actions snowball into major progress. But you have to let the snowball start small. You can't start with a boulder.
And to keep that snowball rolling, you have to actually like what you're doing. This is the joy factor.
Yes. Pick activities you enjoy. This is so important.
The guide lists things like weightlifting, dancing, hiking, and there's another image here, these cute little illustrations of triathlon figures, a swimmer, a cyclist, a runner.
It just highlights diversity. Fitness isn't just suffering on a treadmill staring at a wall. If you hate running, for the love of God, don't run.
But we feel like we have to. We think, well, real fitness is running, so I have to suffer through it.
That is the perfectionist trap talking again. I must do the optimal thing, even if I hate it. No, the best workout is the one you will actually do.
So if you like dancing in your kitchen,
then that is your workout. The guide explicitly states that doing what you love makes consistency 100 times easier.
and finally, the last tactical step is flexibility, which really brings us full circle to that unrealistic problem we started with.
Flexibility is the mindset of the bamboo versus the oak tree. The oak is strong and perfect, but in a storm, it snaps. The bamboo bends.
Okay.
The guide notes that you have to be willing to adjust your plan without throwing in the towel.
So if you're sick or you're working late, you don't just quit, you pivot.
You pivot, you do 10 minutes instead of 30, you stretch instead of lift, you adapt. This is crucial for long-term survival. You bend so you don't break.
So bringing this all together, we've looked at the trap of perfection, how it paralyzes us, it exhausts us, and frankly, it just burns us out. And we've looked at the math of consistency, how those small, frequent efforts beat the sporadic heroics every single time.
And we have a tactical way to apply this.
Right. Starting small, finding joy, and being flexible, it's really an identity shift, isn't it?
It is. It's moving from I am someone who tries to be perfect and fails to I am someone who just shows up no matter what.
The guide sums it up so beautifully in the conclusion. It says, fitness isn't about the perfect diet or schedule. It's about the superpower of consistency.
And it connects this deeply to the brand philosophy of Let's Roar. They focus on sustainable changes. That word sustainable is the golden ticket.
Right.
If you can't see yourself doing this routine in 5 years, it's probably not the right routine for you. They want to empower you to reach your potential, not burn you out trying to reach some impossible standard.
Sustainable changes. It's not about roaring once and then losing your voice. It's about being able to roar every day.
And that leads to the final thought the guide leaves us with. It's a mantra, really. Once a lion, always a lion.
Once a lion, always a lion.
I like that. It's powerful. It implies that your identity isn't defined by your last workout or your last meal. It's defined by who you are.
Okay.
So the challenge here, and I think this is a really provocative thought for our listeners to walk away with, is to stop waiting for Monday.
Stop waiting for perfect.
Stop waiting for the perfect moment to be a lion. You don't need a perfect jungle to be a lion.
You just need to show up.
You just need to take one imperfect step today, right now, even if it's just that little stretch at your desk.
That is the challenge. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Just start moving.
Exactly.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, let's roar.